Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Read and Reread. I am Angelia, and today I'm doing a tag. It is called The 101 Days of Summer, and it is an original tag created by Duane at the Reading Room 1972. And I was tagged by my friend Pat from Book Chat with Pat, and it is a tag all about, you guessed it, summer. Some of it's about books and a few other questions as well. And I don't know about the 101 days. Maybe that's the officially how many days there are in summer, but we get well more than 101 days of summer down here by the lovely Gulf of Mexico. It has been full on summer for quite a while already. It will extend past the official summer box down here in the sunny south of Texas. But I do love summertime. I think once upon a time, summer was my favorite. Now it's probably fall, but I do love summer. Even when it's ferociously hot, there's just something about it. So let's take a look at these prompts that were created by Duane to celebrate the tropes of summer. All right, number one is barbecue time. Pick a favorite author. They are inviting you to a barbecue to announce their newest work. What do you hope they are announcing, and what are you bringing to share? Okay, so the barbecue is in Canada because it is hosted by Emily St. John Mandel, and I'm really excited because I have never been to Canada. So I'm traveling to Canada to celebrate Emily's announcement of her new novel coming out, and she has invited all my favorite Booktube friends, and we are all on an all-expense paid trip to Canada at this barbecue. And I have brought my Mueller salad. Hang on, I know that sounds a little ominous. Let me explain. We have to we have to go back in time. So my mother-in-law used to make this soup, and it was a vegetable soup. It had lots of stuff in it, but one thing she put in it was hominy, the white hominy. And somebody once said when we were eating the soup, it looks like we're eating molars. So fast forward to a recipe that I have that is from a cookbook. It doesn't have the name Mueller salad. It's called something else in the cookbook. But it is a pasta salad, and it does have hominy in it. It has a bunch of vegetables and a balsamic dressing. And it's a good summer salad. You can eat it as a side dish or a main dish. But because it has the hominy in it, my family took to calling it Mueller salad. It's one of my daughter's favorites. So I'm going to bring my Mueller salad to Emily's barbecue. But guess what happens at the barbecue? We're really getting into it. She's telling us about her new book. She's passing out advance copies. We're all excited. And then this noisy van drives up. It's with horns beeping and music playing, and all the doors fly open. And guess who spills out? The Sarahs, Sarah Waters and Sarah Winman. Guess who else is in the van? Donna Tardy herself, with all these ladies have all brought their advance copies. Their new novels are finally coming out. But wait, there's more. They keep spilling out. It's like a clown car. Justin Torres pops out. We don't have to wait 10 more years for his next book. It's ready. The driver finally gets out, and it's Ling Ma, and she has a new novel, and it looks really strange and wonderful. And there's somebody in the back, and I can't quite make out who it is. Tell me in the comments who should be the final party crasher who has taken way too long to release their next book. So they crash the party, and they bring advanced reader copies for everybody, and a merry time is had by all. And we all eat Mueller salad. All right, number two. Do you like how I just cheated and did not really answer the question because I couldn't pick one author? So there you go. Number two, road trip. Oh no, I just got home from a road trip, and so no. Pick a real world setting for a recent or not so recent read. Where would that road trip take you? Okay, it's not going to be a road trip. I'm getting on a plane. I just drove all day across Texas yesterday, so this is not the right timing. Well, I don't like car trips. I take them because, you can't escape them, but it's not my favorite. As it turns out, all the books I most recently finished all take place in locations that I would love to go to. We had The Third Love by Hiromi Kawakami, and it takes place in Japan. Part of it is in contemporary time period and part of it's in the past. I want to go to contemporary Japan, especially Tokyo. Also, just last night finished Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh, and I would love to take a vacation to the UK. And also, perhaps more within my immediate reach, this book, Awakened by A.E. Osworth, takes place in New York City, mostly in Brooklyn and Manhattan, and then they do take a little trip to Maine in the course of the book, and all of that sounds great to me. All right, number 3, camping. Oh my gosh, absolutely not. Do you rough it, say a tent and a sleeping bag, or do you require amenities? Yes, I do, quite a lot. Will you read more than usual? Yes. Okay, so Pat, I remember her video. She said she was not going to camp. She was going to visit at the campsite and stay in a nice hotel. And I am also going to book a room in that nice hotel or some Airbnb. I'm okay with going on a trip to a place of natural beauty and enjoying that and walking and doing the trails and all that kind of stuff. But I am not camping in a tent. No, thank you. I am built for comfort, and I'm not doing that. So yeah, no. If you love camping, that's great. I'm sure you're having an excellent time, and I'm not going to camp with you. And yes, I would read more, because those places where people camp usually have terrible Wi-Fi, so I'm not going to get distracted by my phone or my iPad, and so I will read more and just enjoy the outside and the walks or whatever we're doing, but I'm not camping. Number 4, festivals. You're attending a Booktube festival where dressing as one of your favorite literary characters is the only requirement. Who do you go dressed as and why? So in Pat's video, she chose Lizzie Bennet. We had a conversation about that because that character also popped into my mind. Then I thought, well, this is about summer, and I did not want to wear all of those layers and the long dresses and everything in the summer. That's not going to work. So I'm filming now, and I haven't come up with my answer, but I'm figuring if it's a festival in the summer, I need somebody who's wearing less clothing, but is not, well, that sounded really inappropriate. I don't have an answer. Moving on. Next, pass. Slice of life. What is something others may consider simple or mundane, but is something you can't see a summer without? Let's go with popsicles. I'm really attracted to the color and the flavor array of the popsicles when it gets hot, and the ice cream as well. Love some vegan ice cream bars. We have an ice cream maker, but the popsicles, just the frozen fruity wonder of it all. And also agua frescas, love that too. There's this really good place down by the mall, and I haven't been there since it got hot, so I might need to go get it. They have this really good watermelon lime one. So yeah. Number 6, scary story. Okay, it's back to the camping. Which author would you invite to go camping with you, knowing you would want to hear the scariest story they could tell around the campfire? So I am visiting, I'm hanging out. I'll be there for the cookout and the scary stories, and then I'm going back to my nice room. But I'll invite Stephen King, because I feel like he could freak us out properly. He can tell a good story. He has short stories. So, and then I'm going to leave. So the campers will be stuck with the aftermath of the Stephen King story in the dark, in the night, with the sounds. And I'll be back in my nice, well-lit room. Number 7, first love, summer crush. A romantic interest during the summer months often leads to a bittersweet ending or a lasting impact. Which do you prefer to read, and how does the age of the characters affect this opinion? So I'm not really a romance reader. There's lots of books I read that do have romance or love or relationships in them, and I guess sometimes they do have that bittersweet ending, and sometimes there's lasting love, and I don't really have a preference. I've read wonderful stories that end both ways, and I guess if you're younger, you're more likely to get the bittersweet ending because you're not all there yet. And then if you're older, maybe you're ready for the lasting love. Number 8, nostalgia. What book or books instill in you an overwhelming sense of summer nostalgia? They don't necessarily have to take place during summer, but rather they somehow are attached to summer for you. So I don't really remember often when I was reading a book as far as the seasons go, but I do remember a couple of books from childhood that I have a summer attachment. They're as different as they can be, but I think that I probably was exposed to them around the same time or within a couple of years. So the first one is Jaws by Peter Benchley. And I'm not recommending the book Jaws. I don't know if it holds up at all. Maybe it's great. I do not know. I know that I read it inappropriately when I was about 9 or 10. I got a hold of a mass market paperback, and I have a very tangible memory of holding that book with that old classic cover and reading that beginning when the girl is swimming and the shark grabs her leg, and I was just absolutely grossed out and delighted. And I read the book. I skipped through or skimmed through all of the boring parts about the adults and their marriages and just kept looking for the sharks and the carnage. And I read that book, and I didn't see the movie for a couple of years after that when they did the TV. Remember how every movie used to eventually show up on TV, heavily edited. That's when I got to see Jaws. And I guess I saw it again years later. So Jaws, a very quintessential summer book, and it kind of freaked everyone out about going to the beach back in the 70s. And then the other one also I first experienced in the 70s, and that was Tuck Everlasting by Natalie Babbitt. This one I do highly recommend if you've never read it. It's a middle grade novel, and I first heard the story when a teacher read it aloud to my class. And I can't remember what grade this was, but it would have been somewhere 4th, 5th, 6th grade, somewhere in there. And the teacher read it to the class, and I loved the story, and I went and found it at the library so I could read it for myself. And I read it a few times as a kid. And then when I became a teacher, I read it to my class. I had a 4th grade class long time ago. And then when I became a librarian, I shared it. I had a book club and we read it. I read it as a parent with my daughter. And it's just, I love that story. And it does take place in the summertime. And it is, if you've never read it, it's about a young girl. She's unhappy and she discovers something while she's running around out in the woods. She makes a rather unusual discovery about some people who live out there. And it has to do with immortality and life and love and family and friendship. And it's just, it's really a beautiful story and very bittersweet. Number 9, summer stories. What is a book or books you would recommend where the summertime is a primary focus? Okay, I have a few. First of all, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that this book starts in the summer and then it kind of goes forward. And that is A Room with a View by E.M. Forster. I believe it is summer when the family in the story is on vacation in Venice. That's where it all begins. It does have to do with a romance, but it's delightful. It's fun. It's probably, I would say it is E.M. Forster's lightest story with the theme and the tone and the mood and the atmosphere, and it is just a sheer delight. The next one is a book that I have talked about a lot. One of my favorite books from last year is The History of Sound by Ben Shattuck. The title story has been made into a movie that is coming out soon, and that is the story that takes place mainly in the summer, mainly in Maine in the summer. I'm not sure, the movie is not the whole book, although I do highly recommend the entire book. But the title story is this, to talk about a beautiful and bittersweet romance story. And I don't want to tell you too much about it, but there are 2 young men right before and I guess right after, I can't remember exactly what happens in the time frame. These 2 young men who meet, who are both in the musical field. One's a student, I think one's maybe a couple years older. And the main part of the story, I'm not going to tell you too much, but the main part of the story is about their journey on foot through the woods and across the countryside in New England, gathering folk songs and musical traditions from the people who live out there. And they're recording it on these old-fashioned wax cylinders that are the precursors, I guess, to vinyl records, and they're falling in love. So that is the story I think that the movie is about. And then the book goes on and has all these other fabulous stories. And there's a connection, there's a special pattern. Uh, it goes A and then like B, B, C, C, D, D. And then the last story connects to the first story. So I don't know if maybe both of those stories are incorporated in the movie. We'll see. Because the story is told from one of the men is older, and he receives these old recordings, and then it sparks the memories of what happened back in that really special summer. So that one. And then also the book I talked about so recently, A Month in the Country. This is the perfect, most beautiful summer story, and I talked all about it at great length, so I won't do it again. But if you just need one summer story, then, I mean, you couldn't go wrong right here. That was two. I cheated. Now we're going to wrap it up with a section that I would call Bummer Summer. So we have Summer by Edith Wharton. It's summertime, but nobody's happy. Well, they are briefly, but then things go downhill because it's Edith Wharton. A naive girl from a humble background meets an ambitious city boy, and a torrid romance ensues. Despite her pride, independence, and honesty, Charity Royale feels overshadowed by her past, especially in her ardent relationship to the educated and refined Lucius Harney. Can passion overcome the effects of heredity and environment? With its frank treatment of a woman's sexual awakening, Summer created a sensation upon its initial publication. So, yes, it is about a girl who's very bored and wants more and wants to live life and experience things, and then it starts to happen, and then Edith Wharton happens. Also, the short story, A Perfect Day for Banana Fish. It's really, really dark. It takes place at a beach vacation, but it's super dark, so don't read it unless you're ready. But it came to mind, it was summer. Oh yeah, A Perfect Day for Banana Fish. Oh yeah. Also, that I've talked about recently, The Great Gatsby. Most of this book also takes place in the summer. There is love. Do things go well? Not so much. I'm thinking about a couple of times where people are trapped in a small space. There's an apartment party early on in the book, and then later there's a group of people in a hotel room, a group of people who really shouldn't all be together at the same time, and it's very hot and sweaty, and there's a lot of talk about the drinks and the ice, and things boil up in really uncomfortable ways. So I think about the heat. Even one of the first scenes when Nick comes over to Daisy's house, and Daisy and Jordan are talking about how hot it is, and they're wearing these flowy white dresses and sitting on this chase lounge and trying to be cool. So there's this whole, I don't know, I just think about everyone trying to be so elegant and well dressed, but they didn't have decent air conditioning at all, and the ice clinking in the glasses and everything. It's very summertime. So those are my summer suggestions, and I would love to hear some more from you as well. Summer books. I've probably forgotten something I really love because I just tried to go with what came to the top of my mind. So let me know about your summer ideas, and I will be back again on Friday with sort of a double wrap up since I wasn't able to do one this most recent Friday. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye bye.